Hey guys, it's Heather. I just wanted to talk to you today about a little thing that my husband and I have played with for years. We've always been very intentional in our marriage. We've sought counsel when we've needed it. And we've tried all different ways of spending time together every single day. And we've never been able to find the perfect thing until just recently, spontaneously, we did something and it has just worked so well for us that now I actually look forward to it. It's like my favorite part of the day. And so I know when Jared's coming home from work, even if he's just working in his home office that day, I know when he's kind of off for a little bit, if you will. And so we just have a little thing where we meet on the back porch, and that's either here, it could be downstairs on the porch. And we're not super strict, like no talking about this or no talking about that. We just spend time together and kind of let it flow. But what I want to talk to you about is, as the wife, kind of how I enter that time, because I try not to, I won't say I don't, I try not to enter that time haphazardly, because I have done that a couple times. It hasn't gone well. So I try to be intentional and kind of think about it a little bit before it's going to happen. But one of the things that I've really thought through is, you know, I never really knew how selfish I was. I've learned that in the last few months, but, you know, used to when he would come home, I would just want to dump like everything, right, that happened that day and all that. And my eyes have really been opened that he's probably been through more and different stuff than me. And so I try to enter that time quiet. For me, it's a little hard. And let him kind of guide it and lead it. You know, he is the head of our household, and so it's appropriate for him to lead everything. And so I've really tried to enter this time that way. Unless maybe there's, you know, there can be differences. If there's something going on, then I might preface that and say something to him about like, hey, I'm upset, something just happened, you know, I need to talk about it. Otherwise, I just kind of come and sit, and I might even just sit here and wait for him to say something. And sometimes he scrolls, and if he scrolls a little bit, then I just pick up my phone and scroll a little bit too. Like I said, there's no like rigidity here. That's, you know, we've tried a lot of different things, and with them was always rigidity. And I can be a rigid, structured person. Jared likes to go with the flow. And so I'm trying to learn to let him lead and go with the flow a little bit more. And so we'll just sit and visit. And, you know, since there's no rules, then everything's fair game. And sometimes he'll tell me about his day and, you know, what happened and what he did that day, what he accomplished. But it helps me to hear from him where he's at mentally. And I can usually, you know, we've been married almost 26 years next month. And so I can hear in what he's telling me kind of where he's at, you know, what's gone on in his day, if it's been a stressful day, if he feels like he didn't get as much done as he wanted to. And then I kind of know for the rest of that night, I understand. And even into the next morning, okay, he's waking up feeling behind. Or if he comes home and I can tell because his body language, he's really relaxed, he tells me he had a great day, then I know. And it helps me so much to, I don't know how to understand where he's at. And like I said, there's no rules in what we talk about, and it varies, and the time out here varies. And, you know, we try for it to be just me and him, but there's times that doesn't work. And so we be a little bit flexible with that. You know, if our 5-year-old is home and one of the other brothers isn't here to maybe watch him for a few minutes, then we'll go sit downstairs and let him play in the hot tub, and we still have our time together, and he knows to not interrupt as much as he normally might would, and we still have it. So I think the main thing I want to say is what happens in this time is not as important as that you make this time happen, that you're intentional with the time, and as the wife, that you come to this time not with your list of things to dump or your list, really with nothing, but you just come to this time to hear your husband, to see where he's at, to find out how his day was, where he's at with, you know, it may be different things in his life. It may be work stuff, or it may just be he's not feeling good or he's tired, but just hear, because then what you'll find is that through the rest of dinner and the rest of the evening, once you kind of learn your husband and you find out where he is in the day, then you know kind of how the rest of the evening is going to go. And, you know, for years I used to think, well, if he would just come home from work and he would just help me a little bit here, or he would just do this, or if he, and, you know, I've really in the last few months had to stop saying if he would and just focus on I'm gonna. And it's amazing. He does things that I used to think he should do. And it always catches me off guard because I wasn't, you know, expecting it of him. And it's always at just the right time. And I think it's from the simple thing of truly letting my husband lead. And I'm his helpmate. That's what I'm called to be. I'm called to be his support and his help. He's not called to be my support. And my helpmate, I'm called to be his. And so finding out where he is and everything, and I think, and I'm speaking for him, which, you know, but I would just guessing based on kind of the results in our marriage and the things that have happened that have been positive, is that when I'm successful in our evening chats, and I'm not always, but when I'm successful in those evening chats, he wants to be a part of what I'm doing next, or he wants to be a part with the kids later. And so, you know, I just challenge you to figure out a way that works for you and your husband. It may be different than what works for us, but to find a time to spend time with your spouse intentionally, doing what they enjoy, right? And spending time hearing about their day, listening to them, finding out how they are, so you know how to be a better helpmate through the rest of the evening and starting off his day the next day.